What is up, world? It is BakermanBrad, and today we're going to be taking a look at Dungeon Defenders 2, a game that Trendy Entertainment is saying is actually going to be going free to play for the realsies. They'll have a little bit in the cash shop, and it's actually pretty entertaining to see what they've got going. So we're going to take a look at all of that good stuff going on, Leroy Jenkins style. So let's do this. So I can say right off the bat, I've already been a little bit addicted to how fast-paced the combat can get, and I can really say I'm glad that Trendy Entertainment is going the free-to-play model. I have seen that a few people have been upset about that in terms of people who have played the original Dungeon Defenders. And so with a little bit of griefing about that, nobody's really been up in arms and up too upset about it because they've done a really good job structuring the mechanics of how they're going to change the system a little bit, and there has been some rewards for people who have been buying any of the starter packs or any of the cash bundles for stuff, because there is a cosmetic style cash shop that only benefits the way your characters live. And I really like that. We'll talk about it, and I'll show you here in a little bit, that there's nothing that will benefit how good you play in the game. Kind of like the difference of me hitting this little dummy and making him go freaking crazy to kill people faster. You can't purchase that. You can't make it stronger or better by paying a bunch of money. Granted, because you don't really have to worry about beating the other player, so there's no point in doing that. So I really like that they've done that with this. But with that said, let's go ahead and start taking a look at some of the finer details of it. All of the items and characters that you can get, the stuff that makes your characters better, are really all in the game. You have to build them up, you have to level them up, you have to get the gold, you have to get the spheres, and nothing is going to really change that from paying money, which is fantastic. I don't think there's anything you can buy a bunch of gold for. I haven't seen it, at least. And now the only thing you can buy is the character slots, because if you notice, I've got one that's kind of locked down there, but I can't really put my fourth character yet until you get to a certain level. Now the good thing is, each of these characters are going to have a different style, and so there's going to be a reason that you'd want to have all of these characters together, because you can switch them out in the middle of playing. And you can build different towers, you can use their abilities different, you can have their different builds, different skills, and all of that is related to the actual time that you've put in the game. Now, there's a couple of things that they added recently, like this creepy old man, this scavenger, and they were talking about in some of their patch notes how he goes out, and if after you've collected as much stuff as you can keep collecting things, because he will now pick them up. And then you can go back into this little tavern and sell it. They got a bunch of really other cool things. The reason you want to keep all of those items is that you can stick something in there and put around in the circle and fill it up and then level it up and upgrade stuff to make whatever items you have better. I'm not going to do any of that right now because that'd be a little bit of a waste of time. But the cosmetic shop that I was talking about is right here, and they've got a lot of packs that come out, a lot of costumes, wardrobes, and you can unlock some from certain fortifier boxes out in items that you go and find. You have to have a certain key, which is the only other aspect of the cash shop that has any real money to it, and I'll show that to you here in a second. But each character is going to have different pieces of their clothes that they can change, and really the only way to get those that I've seen, because of how long it takes to get them any other time, is to pay a little bit of money for them. But they've got some really cool costumes out there, like this guy right here. Just throwing it out there. If you like cosmetics, it would definitely be worth putting a little bit of money in it. And but then you can go and see that all these other things are all gold. All the spheres, all the large spheres, uber spheres that I don't have any available right now anyways, all have different skills that really help your character, but you can't buy with money. Same with the relics over here, and pretty much all of these guys. And relics are actually really kind of awesome, so that would be another really key feature of being able to beat the game better. If they had some legendary item that you can only get with money, it's not the case. Weapons, same thing. But each of them now have also little, in the red, benefits that make your character builds different. So that's another little aspect that you're not able to, cheat because of that. Now this guy right here, or this gal, my apologies, has the Wyvern tokens, and that's what you need to buy all these fancy things like the Betsy Dragon Egg, which would really kind of make it over the top crazy because you get 180 of those, and I have like a ton. But you can go and buy some more, and that's the only other component of the cash shop. But these little serene lock boxes, you need that key there, and that's how you get the cosmetics that you can open up. And with that, let's go ahead and get back into the game, because that's all you really need to know about the Tavern. There's a few other little pieces, but we'll talk about that later on. It's time to get into some building. Now I'm going to show you a little bit more of the building and combat phases in the single player, and then we'll show you some more of the gameplay and all. But one of the reasons I want to do that is because it actually was mentioned in one of the updates that one of the key features that they have been trying to tweak is being able to play by yourself. And so they've made it, and I'm kind of quoting the word here, less impossible for someone to go out and actually defend these objectives on their own. So the key there is, like I said, those character cards that you can go through and pick what heroes you're bringing to the table. So you want to have, whoever it is that you're going to have a character that builds really strong defenses, you can use them, and then you go through and you build one of your other characters who has really high attack, and maybe you use them instead. So there's a lot of key features that they have gone and added in terms of, that's a nice little defense right there, if I do say so myself. Anyways, I gotta get the other side. They have a whole bunch of different mechanics of having your games depend on what characters you're bringing in and who's building what, who's attacking what, and it's a really fun mechanic. So I'm going to show you a little bit more here in a second after I get these all upgraded. Give me 2 seconds. So, as I mentioned before, you can change your characters in the middle of your build phase. I figure I should clarify that since I just said in the middle of gaming earlier. But each one is going to now have a different thing that you can add to your defenses. So if you go and pick the monk, you can create an aura or a trap and a whole bunch of other different components that really help your game. And that's the best part of having, it's almost like you're not playing by yourself, because you do have all of the characters available to you if you set it up that way. So really keep in mind as you're playing who you want to play as. And then right before you get into the battle phase, make sure you choose whoever it is that's able to actually put the hurt on these guys. Because next up is the combat phase. Booyah. Now in this, the basic objective, right there, is the primary thing that you have to defend in any of these Dungeon Defender games and the Tower Defenders or anything that you're familiar with. And they're going to be sending in waves and waves of people. Now, there's usually about 7 waves, and there's anywhere up to like 100, 300 people that you gotta take off. The old army, or whoever they're called. And you can see the top counter in the top right there of how many actual people are still in that wave. Now, the battle goes, if you have a lot more people, a little bit more intense, because like I said earlier, they try to make it less impossible for solo players, but rather epic for when you're in a group. Yeah, in the spirit of Leroy Jenkins, let's do this. But the battles of these games, the fights that you get into, can really change depending on who it is that you're playing with, because they have a level system that they really do kind of base who you're fighting. And if you notice, I'm taking a little bit of a beating there, but the cool thing is almost every one of these characters has a heal. And so really it's all about strategy and keeping track of just how close it is before you die. And then getting away. The defenses that other people are going to have are just as important as the defenses you have. So in the games that you're playing with a group, there is a defense limit. So sometimes it's not going to be worth putting your own defenses down because you're going to be taking away from the potential defenses of your team. And other times you just have to hold the line and start throwing sword beams and hacking at spear throwing pigs. But in both spirits of the game, whenever you're playing solo or if you're playing with a group, I can definitely say that the mechanics, the battle pace and everything is still very entertaining and very good in terms of balance of the difficulty of the level. Because one of the things you can choose after you beat the campaign is the free play, and it can change which components you're actually trying to make difficult. Whether it's just a map that you want to replay to try to get some extra loot, because they did say that the maps actually have a different level of loot dropping. So you can't play the same super easy level over and over and over again and get the best gear in the game. So it adds different components of what it is you have to do to get the good stuff in the game, which is really cool that they've added such a level of involvement for actually playing the game rather than, oh, I just pay a bunch of money, get this going, and we're good. And with that said, I actually forgot to mention the pet system. So with that, you're not going to be paying a bunch of money for these guys. You can actually pay for different slots, but the pet system is actually a really unique little spot that if you really think about it in the single player mode, you're not going to be fighting by yourself because you're going to have these cute little monsters to help destroy all the enemies that you got facing. So there's a lot of really cool dynamics there. It's got some different versions of pets like dragons, cats, and the gatos, I apologize, and some spooky spirits. So, one last little tidbit for you. After you get everything built up, one little trick that I learned, and I'm going to pass this along to you, and they're actually completely okay with you doing this. Build all your defenses, get everything going, and then choose your lowest level. And that's right, it's power leveling. It's part of the game. They left it in there for you to be able to do this. Once you get into the combat phase, you just have to be extra careful because if you have those higher level guys out there, there's going to be a reason to use all the traps they have set up because you can't do the damage. Now, anyways, in one level, you can usually get someone from tiny little token elfin babe all the way up to a pretty good level 18. I'm just saying that's what I did. Now, keep in mind, after that, the items you get aren't going to be usable. They're a little bit too high a level. Anyways, that's going to be all I've got for Dungeon Defenders 2, except for showing you how to kick a giant ogre butt. If you liked the video so far, if you liked anything about Dungeon Defenders 2, hit that like button. That's what it's there for. If you haven't, hit that subscribe button while you're there. And if you want any more information about Dungeon Defenders 2, feel free to hit up the profile page on MMOHuts.com, and also keep a look at their developer blogs that Trendy Games keeps on putting out. Trendy Entertainment, my apologies. And with that said, this has been BakermanBrad kicking ogre butt. You gamers, get back to gaming.